Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are going through my round 5 AFL tips. Obviously Gather Round had just passed. There were a few cracking games, and there also were a few thrashing games, but overall it's good to see some suburban grounds where footy is being played. Even though there were some thrashings, it was still a good round of footy to watch, and great round of Gather Round. So with that being said, let's get straight into the tips. Before we get into our tips, let's go over the game review of the week. So, I don't know what happened here, but obviously last week I did do my tips on ESPN Footy Tips. I swear I tipped these games. I swear I tipped for all these games, but we started off the night on Thursday and we had Adelaide taking on Melbourne. Melbourne won that one by 15. I went with the Crows. I just thought they would bounce back, but obviously we know they've had a poor start, and that doesn't help their case. They just look too. Melbourne just looked like the better side. So not a good win there. Not a good game there for the Crows. Then we went over to Norwood Oval, where Brisbane took on North Melbourne, and they absolutely demolished them, getting their first win of the season by 70 points. I said Brisbane by 22. That tip did save. I got the correct prediction, but not the correct scoreline, unfortunately. Then at the Adelaide Oval, we had Port Adelaide taking on Essendon. Port won this one by 69. I just realised that if Port had have scored one more point, it would have been the exact same scoreline and the exact same scores to the Brisbane North Melbourne game. But Port Adelaide won by 69. I think I went with the power to win by 9. I don't know why, but I didn't get my tip correct, obviously, because they absolutely demolished them. It was a poor game from Essendon. Then on Saturday morning, this was probably the best game of the round at the time. You could argue between Melbourne and Adelaide, but I thought this one was a red hot contest for a while. I went with Sydney to win by, I think it was 73. They only won by 26. It was a very good fight, put up a good fight from West Coast. Definitely their best game of the season. Their best game of the season so far for the Eagles. But, they're still 0-4, which is disappointing. But they put up a real fight. So, credit to the Eagles, considering that, last time these two sides versed, it was a complete bloodbath, 171-point win for Sydney, and they let them concede 200. So, good job there, West Coast, but Sydney just too strong. Then Carlton with a controversial win. I wasn't able to watch this game, but they did win by 10. I think Freo put up a really good fight, but I think it was clearly touched. I think we can all see that. And then obviously the dissent call, which was pretty poor. Again, another dissent call going Carlton's way. Remember the GWS game from last year, GWS, you could say they were being robbed. And then I went with the Cats to win by 10 points. I was just a goal off. And they were looking like they're going to win by 10 points, but the Dogs got a late goal. Pretty good contest, but the Cats just too strong. I thought they'd need a good win, and they go 4-0. They start off their season 4-0. Then on Sunday, we had the Giants taking on the Gold Coast Suns. The Giants won this one by 28. I didn't really get to watch that game. Then my Saints took on Richmond at Norwood Oval. And to be honest, we had one of the poorest. We probably had the poorest first half side has had this year. We only scored 11 at halftime, and we had 4 behinds at quarter time. In the end, we probably did deserve to win this by a bit more. I'm not trying to be biased, but we did have lots of behinds, and we just were really inaccurate at kicking. But credit to Richmond, I thought I thought the Saints would win by 45. It was really a good contest. They only won by 7, and but Saints just pulled away in that third quarter, and happy to get that win. I'll still take it, even though it wasn't that convincing, but we probably should have won by more in the end. And then at the Adelaide Oval, again, I didn't really get to watch many of the Sunday games because I was doing lots of stuff, but Collingwood won by 5. They were leading by 20 at three-quarter time, or 26. Then Hawthorn really fought back and made it a good contest in the end, which, again, you do question the Pies, They just come off a premiership and they only won by 5. Very unconvincing against Hawthorn, but, it was at the Adelaide Oval. Good contest there. I got 8 out of 9 tips this week. I did absolutely good, and also I think I did pretty good considering all these games were at neutral grounds. So there weren't a lot of upsets this week, even though I thought there probably could have been because of the neutral grounds. But 8 out of 1.59. I'll definitely take it. Let's move on to the tips. So, we start back off at the MCG. No more Adelaide Oval, or in Adelaide, gather round is over. We continue to the MCG, where Melbourne take on Brisbane in another chapter of round 5 in the AFL. This one, I think this should be a pretty good contest. I think both sides are really looking to, build on their wins from last week. Obviously, Melbourne, pretty good win in the end. Adelaide did look like they came back a bit, but Melbourne, their class was just too strong. They showed the Crows that, they're not finals contenders anymore. They came out and they go 4-1, and they currently sit, I think, third on the ladder. So, yeah, good job to Melbourne. Brisbane, on the other hand, had a good win over North Melbourne. Absolutely came out, thrashed them. Wasn't as a convincing second half, but, they didn't really need to put on a big score. They didn't really need to do much in that second half. It was pretty much over at halftime. So, yeah, growth, good wins for these sides, but I will go with Melbourne to win here. I think they have a big point to prove. I think this should be an intriguing contest. I'll definitely be tuning into this one. I'm going to go with the D's to win by 12. I think that Brisbane should be able to put up a good fight, but just considering it is at the MCG, where the Lions lost the grand final last year, not only that, I think Melbourne are just in much better form. So I will go with Melbourne to win by 12 and Brisbane to go 1-4. Obviously, not a good start from Brisbane from the year. Got a good start for Brisbane to the new year, but I will go with the D's to win by 12 points. So then we head over to the Friday game. There's not a doubleheader on Friday, just one game on Friday, and we have the Dogs taking on the Bombers. So yeah, this one would be a pretty good contest. Both sides are 2-2 coming into this match. The Dogs probably been a bit more convincing this year, obviously, with their start. Essendon, they were just so poor against Port Adelaide. I could see them losing. I couldn't see them losing by any more than 30 or anything, more than 20 really. I thought it would be a good contest, but a 69-point loss. I know it's gather round. I know Port Adelaide are at home, and I know it's at the Adelaide Oval, but I mean, you got to put up more of a fight than that. So I think this will actually be a good contest. I think I'll be watching this one. Both sides are, similarly ranked, but I will go with the Dogs to get a win here. I'm going to go with the Dogs to win by 18. I think that Essendon at Marvel can really put up a fight, but I'm going to go with the Dogs here. I just think that they've been the better side to start, even though they both do have the same record. I'm going to go with the Dogs to win by 3 goals, and yeah, move to 3-2. Then we head over on Saturday afternoon. We have the Giants taking on the St Kilda Saints at Monica. I'll say it correctly this time, and my side is playing at Monica. So yeah, I remember we played at Monica a couple years ago against the Giants, and we did win that one by around 20 points. So yeah, we'll be looking to win this one too. We're 2-2. The Giants are undefeated. They've never been 4-0 in their history, neither 3-0. I forgot to say that last week. Their best start is 2-0. So, yeah, the Giants 4-0. That was the Saints last year, obviously. Not going to brag on about that because that season is over. But, yeah, we didn't play the best against Richmond, but still got the win. That's all that matters. So, I feel like I could be biased here. But I just feel like Giants at Monica Oval, I think they've only won like 3 games out there. I don't know how many times they've played there. I don't know. I think they play there a couple times a season, and I think they won there once last year, but I don't think they have the best record. I may be biased. I know the Giants are a very good side. I said they'll win the flag, but I am going to go with the Saints, okay? I know this can be very biased. I'm going to go with the Saints to win here by 8 points. I just think that, I'll back in my own side. It's at Monica. We can play good at these little grounds. So, yeah, I'm looking to get the win here. But, yeah, hopefully the Saints do win. I'm going to go with the Saints by 8. I just think that the Giants might slip up a little bit just considering they are 4-0. They've obviously had a good start. But I feel like Giants will lose a game eventually. And I feel like the Saints can really do this to get the job done here. So I'll go with the Saints by 8. Next up, we at Marvel Stadium, we have Carlton taking on the Crows. So, yeah, this game, coming into this game, obviously, both sides are opposite on their record. Carlton are 4-0 with a controversial win against Fremantle, but they still won the game at the end of the day. But the Adelaide Crows, 0-4, which is disappointing. Let's start off with Carlton. So, Carlton, controversial win. The descent call, that was a bit controversial, and the touch call. And for whatever reason, The umpires at the Adelaide Oval are really not the best. Obviously, the Ben Keys goal that wasn't claimed as a goal, even though it was literally a goal we could all see. That's been fixed. Let's move on from that. But it just gets worse with... I remember last week, I think there was a controversial game too at the Adelaide Oval. But, we'll move on for it. We'll move on from it. But, yeah, I just think the umpires need to be questioned there. I don't think they're the best. But, anyways, I'm going to go with Carlton. For me, this is just an easy tip. I've backed Adelaide in a couple times this year, but they've just proved to me now that they're not a finals contender. I can't see them making the 8 from here. With their schedule, they've got Carlton and Essendon coming up. Then North, I could definitely see them beating North, but I could probably even see Essendon winning that one, to be honest, with the way they're going. I'm going to go with Carlton and win by 16. I think that the Crows can put up a fight, but 0-5 start for the Crows, not good, but I just think Carlton are far better side, and at Marvel, I'll tip them happily here to win by 16 points. Next up, we move on to... this is to be confirmed. I think Super Brew does this sometimes where, because they're not really an Australian tipping website, they don't really know what's going on. But I'm not sure where this one is, so I probably will have to look at it on my phone. Let me just get it real quick, just here. And alright, I'm back. Alright, I can see where this game is at. So, this game is going to be at... We're looking at People First Stadium, which it's a terrible name, but it's Gold Coast Home Stadium. I like to call it not Heritage Bank Stadium, the Metricon. Such a good name. I don't know why they changed it. They changed it last year to Heritage Bank Stadium. Now they've changed it to People First Stadium. It's a pretty good ground. Anyways, Gold Coast taking on the Hawks. So, yeah, I think this one should be a good clash. Hawthorn trying to look for their first win of the season. Meanwhile, Gold Coast trying to get their third win. I think this should be a close contest. I really do. I've never tipped a close game before, but I am going to go with the Suns. I've never tipped it this close so far this year. I'm going to go with the Suns to win by a point. 1 point. Hawthorn will go on 5, I think. I think this should be an intriguing contest, but I will go with the Suns to win by 1. I think they are probably the better side. Next up, to round off the Saturday footy, we have Port taking on Freo at the Adelaide Oval. Now, Freo, obviously, controversial loss against Carlton. Port, great win, outstanding win, definitely not controversial, 69-point win against the Bombers. So, I think that this game, coming into it, both sides, Port Adelaide sit 6th on the ladder and Freo sit 7th, so I will be able to give you a bit more stats now that I have my phone, not just going off the top of my head. But yeah, I'm going to go with Port. I think Port will be able to make a statement here. I'm going to go with the Power to win by 12. I think that it will be only a couple goals. Obviously, in the preseason, Power did really get the upper hand of Freo, but I think it will be a bit different this time. I think Port will still win, but I'll go with them only to win by 12 and Freo putting up a good fight. Unfortunately, though, Freo, I think, will slip to 3-2. Next up at GMHBA Stadium on the Sunday morning, for me, obviously, Perth time, it's 2 p.m. Over in Victoria, New South Wales and all those states. But anyways, Geelong taking on North Melbourne again, opposite forms, North 0-4, Geelong 4-0. So yeah, this one should be a straightforward tip. I can't see Geelong losing this one, really. I'm going to go with the Cats. It's just pretty much the margin that matters. I'm going to go with the Cats by 29. I know that North are probably one of the worst sides at GMHBA modern day, but I think Geelong should be too strong. I'll go with the Cats to win by 29, but I can really see North putting up a fight. It's been a matter of, apart from these last 2 rounds, that North really put up the fight, obviously against Carlton and against Brisbane. That wasn't the case, but I think that both sides... should be not a close contest, but it should be a okay game to watch. I got the Cats by 29. I'll make a big call here. Both sides score above 85 points in this one, so it will be a high scoring affair. Next up at Optus Stadium, I think this is to finish off the round. Yes, it is. We have the Eagles taking on the Tigers. So this game should be this game I think will be a pretty good contest. I'm not going to lie. Richmond are 1-4. Eagles, on the other hand, they're 0-4. So, pretty similar ranked sides. And everyone knew coming into this game that this is really a winnable game for West Coast. Yes, Richmond, they've played in Richmond's games all year, pretty much from the Gold Coast game, have all been convincing. They've been really putting up a fight, and so they should. They're not that side that loses that much, so they should be putting up a fight. But this game is going to be interesting. I was considering tipping Richmond, but when West Coast got annihilated by the Bulldogs, I was really deconsidering that. And then last week against Sydney, the Eagles put up a really good fight. Obviously, they didn't have to travel much from Perth, but it's still good signs for the Eagles. Harley Reid broke so many tackles in that game. It was awesome. I'm going to go with West Coast. I think they need to make a statement. I think that, obviously, Simo, it's been a poor start as expected. I'm going to go with the Eagles to win here by 10. I do feel for Richmond because I don't think I've really tipped them at all. I remember tipping them in round 1, but I don't think I've tipped them that often. But I know they were really competitive against the Saints, and they won against the Swans, but there's just something in me telling me that West Coast sometimes, they did it to the Giants last year. They can cop those sides on bad form that start the year in bad form. So I'm going to go with the West Coast to win by 12. I know the Tigers have been convincing in most of their games, but I'm going to go with West Coast to finally get their first win, and they'll go 1-4. So that is going to round out the tips. Obviously, our buys this week are Sydney and Collingwood. But here are my tips. Melbourne by 12, the Dogs by 18, Saints by 8, Carlton by 16, Suns by 1, Port Adelaide by 12, Geelong by 29, and the Eagles by 10. Let me know if you agree or disagree with me in the comments. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video.